When somebody comes to you and they're like, well, I need to hire and build a great team, it's such a big question. I think you can go in so many different directions. Chet, we'll start with you and hand it off to Joe. When somebody approaches with you and like, how do we get our first couple hires together? Or maybe we have a couple part-timers, but we're ready to build out the team. Where's the first place that they need to start or need to start thinking about in order to build it the right way?
Yeah, and it's an excellent topic. I always think it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. And am I getting feedback? Are you getting feedback, David, from me?
Yeah, I think we are getting a lot of feedback. I don't know if we're on a speakerphone or um,
How about now? Can you hear
oh,
me okay now?
that's so much better. That's wonderful.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Um, like I was saying, we always look at it and say it's kind of like finding a needle in a haystack. And if you look at it from that perspective, it's really difficult to find those key people. And so one of the most important first steps we recommend people take is it's a good idea to understand what your culture is and who are the ideal fits for you. And every place is different. It doesn't mean that our firm is better than someone else's, but our culture is going to be different from a different firm's culture. And so it's really important, I think, first to look and say, who have been some of your highest performers and best people in the past, and who are they? What do they represent? And that kind of tells you a lot about your culture. And so once you know, okay, here's the kind of person that fits well in our environment, then you can go out and try to find people that are very similar. Not that they're all the same, but really helps you identify that, hey, here's the type of people that do well in our environment, and most importantly, well in our culture.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up question on that, and I want to pass it over to Joe because I know they think about this a lot as well. But can you give an example, to the extent you can disclose, whether it's your firm or other firms, whatever it may be, or just an off-the-cuff example of maybe how you define, like, what are some characteristics of maybe that work well in your firm, but may differ from other firms, just so it's very concrete for people that are maybe struggling with this question.
Yeah, okay, real concrete. Patrick Lencioni, and we're big fans of reading here at our firm. It's a part of our culture. Patrick Lencioni just published a book here in the recent years called The Ideal Team Player, and I recommend that as it's a must read for anybody that's hiring, and then most importantly anybody who's leading an organization. He did an awesome job of kind of encapsulating for us what we look for, and the specifics are we look for people who are um, hungry, who are smart, and who are humble. And those are the kind of people that fit well into our environment. So it's almost like he wrote that book to us, but I think it's probably the same for everybody. But I'd strongly recommend that. But what you're looking for in those ideal hires, and specifically the people that fit our culture, are the ones that put other people first. They want something more in life. They're trying to really have a career. And then also they have the competence to do the job. And I highly recommend his book as a must read.
How do you begin that process of making sure that you are attracting the right talent or vetting out the right talent?
Sure, that's great. And Chad, I was taking notes feverishly over here. I think you've got a great handle on it as far as starting with culture. That's really the biggest thing is, you're as a bookkeeping company, you are your people. I mean, that's your product is taking care of the business owners that you serve, and having a great team is obviously where it starts. Yeah, I'd say that's the number two challenge behind sales in our businesses. Certainly for ours is attracting and maintaining good talent. I think culture is a great recruitment tool. You create a fun environment that's really a good place for people to come. It certainly helps with retention if you can build a culture, and I'm sure we'll get into that later. Um, this has been a challenge as we've grown. We kind of started with people in our community that we knew were just stellar employees, connections to friends and family. We're about 15 team members now, and so we're kind of having to stretch outside those borders. So if you're a newer firm, I'd obviously start there. If you've got talented folks in your life, tell them your story of your brand and who you are. See if they know people that'll fit. And then once you kind of expend all the resources you have, we're working with two recruiting firms right now. I'm having a call with another recruiting firm next week just to kind of get as many resumes, as many people coming across our doors so that we can start that vetting process. But really, we kind of want the pick of the litter, the cream of the crop to start with us, and the best way to do that is just get as many people coming through your doors that you can start vetting.
Can you guys give us a glimpse at, your last hire or last couple hires? What was the average time from saying, we know we need to hire, to actually getting that person, the first day in the office? And then obviously there's a lot of training and things that go on afterwards. But what's the timeline? We'll start with Joe this time and then hand it over to Jet. What's the typical timeline for hiring for you guys?
Sure. Yeah, we're actually hiring right now. So if anyone knows anybody, you can send them my way. But yeah, we evaluate capacity on our existing team. So like I said, we've got a management team, but we've got 11 bookkeepers now. Each of those have a load of clients of monthly recurring revenue that they manage. And just about every week we evaluate, who has capacity to take on more clients. We landed a bunch of clients in October, and our team is pretty much close to capacity. We like to keep people at like 80 to 90% capacity. I don't think it's good to have your team at 100% capacity, because then you just don't have any margin. So once we kind of get to that point, that's when we kind of kick on that kind of full recruitment. We always have our recruiters looking for people, but right now it's kind of, turned on the engine to say, all right, we need someone now. So we're in process of vetting through resumes that have come through the door. We've built this kind of 12-step process that a candidate has to go through, steps before they even get to talk to our management team. That's like QuickBooks Online tests. That's as far as answering a mock fiery email from a client. What's their email etiquette like? They kind of got to go through some of these hoops before they can get to us as far as formal interviews. From there, we've got 4 designated interviews that a candidate has to go through, from kind of customer service to technical knowledge to experience. And then, the last interview is just with me. We talk about culture. We talk about what's your hopes and your dreams. Is Two Roads the fit for you? It's not just a one-way street where we're looking for warm bodies. We want to be a place that someone wants to stay forever. That whole process from, we need someone now, to getting them in the door pre-training usually takes like 3 or 4 weeks. It's a pretty lengthy process. It's painful, but we need to make sure we get the right people on the bus before we start training them.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize, and thank you so much for sharing that, because it's 3 to 4 weeks with a very well-defined process. And I think that's what drives the ability to get quality. Because 3 to 4 weeks is still, it feels quite quick, but you have a very well-defined process. You're looking for very specific things. You've done the planning and the setup up front. So you have a system that can continue to recruit and qualify candidates that come in. Chet, what's your timeline for, start to finish, and finish being, again, the day they start at the firm, day one? How does that work at your firm?
Yeah, I think Joe made a couple of good comments in there that I don't like to see get lost. He talked about, not keeping his people at 100% capacity, because that's a really tough place to be. Historically in our industry, we've always, seems like we ran one person short, and that was kind of the acceptable way to do business. For us, we believe the same as Joe, that we don't like to have people running at 100%. And so for us, we're constantly hiring. We developed kind of a hiring process, a recruiting process, where we're constantly looking for great people who would be a cultural fit. And so anytime we come across somebody, whether we feel like we need them or not, we hire them. So we've kind of changed from how do we run from, rather than one person short, to half a person long, if not one person long. What we found is that there's a lot of work and a lot of help that our clients are needing, that it's nice when you have the ability to service it when the needs come up, but then also, to allow people to take their paid time off when they want to and feel like they can. As far as the timeline goes, from the time we talk to somebody, from the time we give them an offer, that's usually a systematic 2 to 3 week process, where there's multi-stage interviews, and it's a little bit different type of interviews that we do, but typically our timeline is within a 2 to 3 week process of from the time that we're aware of some, we either turn them down, unfortunately, or give them an offer. It's about 2 to 3 week process.
You have a sales and lead generation process in place, so you can predictably see, well, we might not be needing this person in the next 30 days, but I know in 90 days we're going to absolutely need them based off of historical growth and projected growth. Is that how you're able to then work into that capacity without, potentially being kind of stuck with more potentially talent than you need? Or maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. Maybe saying, like, look, if we have a bunch of talented people, we can offer more services, we can reach out to clients, we can start then taking the time and that's how we build into it. But I know there's probably a lot of owners that are listening right now and they're like, gosh, I wish I could just hire somebody even way before we were at that 80-90% capacity. But then there's obviously a lot of anxiety around, well, what if the expense then is really detrimental to the company or to the firm? How do you view or kind of counteract that concern?
Yeah, no, and it is a legitimate concern, and especially as accountants, we tend to focus on the expense side of the profitability equation more than anything else. And I hate to admit this, but I think it's across the whole industry. But unfortunately, we're underserving our clients, and it's a sad reality. We're not taking care of even the basic needs, let alone the wants. And so what we found is we said, you know what, we've been running short and running our people hard here several years back. How do we got to start fixing this, and the key is start adding capacity ahead of it. And so we have a really strong partner group that we're willing to try things. And so what we did was we just started adding capacity ahead of when we needed it. And what we found is that we were in fact underserving our clients. And when we created the capacity and the availability, it's amazing how our firm grew, and not just from a revenue standpoint, but then also our team has grown too, because it's created space for them to really invest in themselves and their clients, etc. But that has been part of our business development process, has really been a function of adding capacity when we thought we needed it. And on one side, you're like, oh, wow, that's a great opportunity. But then on the other side, you're thinking, man, we just really did a poor job of servicing our clients historically. And, you don't want to kick yourself, but, you do have to take ownership of that. That's our fault. And so we're really trying to make a commitment to taking really high quality care of our clients. And to do that, we need high quality people. So we've been adding ahead, and every time we've added ahead, we've been able to take care of more clients the way that they want to be taken care of. So yeah, that's the I guess the honest side of it.